Okay, so here is worksheet 1 of our genetics chapter. So how we start this is we look at our trait. Our trait here would be tongue folding. There are two forms, being a non-folder, not being able to fold your tongue, and being a folder. It is dominant to not be able to do it, and it is recessive to be able to do it. So here I'm telling you that mom, which we represent with this symbol, this is the symbol for female, I'm telling you that mom has a genotype of being heterozygous. And I'm telling you that dad, and this is the symbol for male, dad is homozygous dominant. So I'm giving you the two genotypes here. And I'm asking you in A to do all possible crosses, and B, list the genotypes and phenotypes of the first filial, F1, generation. What F1 means, first filial generation, it means what are your results of the Punnett square that you're doing? What that generation, the offspring that are being created, that's what I'm interested in. So to start out with, we know what the genotypes of mom and dad are. So mom is het, so I'm going to use T's for this one, for tongue. So if mom is het, we know that we need a capital T and a lowercase t. And if dad is homozygous dominant, we know that we need two of the same and they need to be dominant. So I give him two capital T's. Then what I do is I draw this box here. And I have to put one set of parents' genes on the top of the box and the other set on the side. So I put a mom, I typically stay the same. I put mom on the top side and dad on the side here. And I put a capital T at the top of one box and a lowercase t on the other. And same thing on the side with dad's genes, a capital T here and a capital T here. So I have the Punnett square set up. Now the only thing that I have to do here is I have to bring down this T and bring this T over. Bring down, bring over, down, over, down, over. So it should look like that when I get done filling it in. Remember, always keep your capital T's in front of your lowercase t's in order to be consistent and keep organized, and I promise you it will help you as we go on throughout this chapter. So now that I am done with the Punnett square, now I need to list the genotypes and phenotypes of my results that I got in this Punnett square. These would be the results of the first filial generation. This is our offspring. This is what mom is, and this is what dad is. These are our chances for our offspring. So looking at what we have here, our types of genes that we come up with, we have 1, 2 possibilities of being homozygous dominant, and 1, 2 possibilities of being heterozygous. So it's a 50-50 chance on the genotype. So that's all the genotypes I have. Now I can look at the phenotypes. All of these have a capital T in them. So as of right now, where we are at in genetics, dominant wins out over recessive. So all 4 chances here would be non-folders because the capital T, the dominant T, will mask or hide the recessive T. So all 4 of these would show the dominant trait of not being able to fold their tongue. So it's a 100% chance, if this is mom and dad, 100% chance that this child will not be able to roll their tongue. And that is all you need to do for number 1. So moving on to number 2. Now our trait that we're looking at is hair color. Our dominant form is brown and our recessive form is blonde. I'm telling you that mom has brown hair and dad has brown hair. So both brown hair here, which is dominant. I'm asking you to do all possible crosses and to list the genotypes and phenotypes of the offspring. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find out what letters we're going to be using for mom and dad for our Punnett squares. So because brown is dominant, there are 2 genotypes that are going to give us the phenotype of brown hair. So mom could be either homozygous dominant or she could be heterozygous. We do not know what she is. And same thing for dad. He is one or the other. We do not know. So is one Punnett square going to answer our question here? No, it's not. You have to do more than one. How many do you need to do? Let's see what our combinations are. You need to do this one circled in orange, the chances that mom could be homozygous dominant and dad could be homozygous dominant. This one in green, where both parents are possibly heterozygous. And there's also a chance that there could be a mixture. Mom could be homozygous dominant and dad could be heterozygous. We don't know. So there are actually 3 Punnett squares that we need to do. All right, and you'll see here I've color-coded them, orange, green, and purple. Now you might be wondering, Mrs. Schaffern, what about the chance that mom is heterozygous and dad is homozygous recessive? If you look at these letter combinations, it's actually the same as what we circled in purple. So we really do not need to redo that Punnett square because we've already done it for purple. So we don't need to redo it. So we set up our 3 Punnett squares. Like I said, I put mom's genotype typically on the top and dad's on the side here. And then just like worksheet number 1, we would bring the letters down and over to fill in the boxes. So as you do that, bring the B down, over, down, over, down, over, down, over. We do the same thing for each of these boxes, remembering to keep our lowercase letters behind our capital. So now that we've filled in our boxes, we just have to list the genotypes and phenotypes of the offspring. So in our first, I put them all there, but in our first box, you'll notice they're all the same. So there are 4 homozygous dominant offspring boxes here. So there's a 100% chance that if these are our parents' genotypes, there's a 100% chance that our kids are also going to be homozygous dominant. If we look at their phenotypes, they all have capital B's, which is dominant. Dominant form is brown, so there's a 100% chance that this child will have brown hair if that's what mom and dad's genotypes are. Going to our second box, where both parents are heterozygous, we'll see here we have different combinations in our offspring. We have 1 homozygous dominant, 2 heterozygous, and 1 homozygous recessive. So that's a 25% chance homozygous dominant because it's 1 box out of the 4. A 50% chance to be heterozygous because it's 2 boxes out of 4. And 1 chance of being homozygous recessive because it's 1 box out of 4. So those are our genotypes. To look at what our phenotypes will be, you'll see here that 3 out of our 4 boxes have capital B's, which are dominant. And the dominant will hide or mask the recessive. So there is a 1, 2, 3 out of 4 chance that our offspring here will have brown hair. So it's a 75% chance. And this square here, since it's homozygous recessive, there is no dominant gene to mask our recessive. So this genotype here will actually be able to show the recessive phenotype of having blonde hair. So there's only a 25% chance, if this is mom and this is dad, 25% chance that the child could have blonde hair. And finally, our last Punnett square, where one parent would be homozygous dominant and the other one would be heterozygous. We have 2 homozygous dominants, which we right here, and 2 heterozygous, which we right here. All 4 of them have capital B's, so all 4 would have brown hair. And that's it. That's it for number 2. Number 3 is the last one I'm going to do with you today, and then you're on your own for the rest of worksheet 1. So for number 3, our trait is hair shape. So we're looking at curly versus straight hair. It's dominant to have curly hair, and it's recessive to have straight hair. So A asks, a woman has curly hair, so it's dominant, and both of her parents have curly hair. Can you determine her genotype? So the woman has curly hair, so she is either homozygous dominant or she is heterozygous. Both of her parents have curly hair, so that would be her parents' genotypes as well. So she's either this or that. So no, we cannot tell what her genotype is because it's either this or this. There's really no way for us to tell. So the answer is no. B asks, the woman in part A that we're talking about marries a man with straight hair, and they have 6 children with straight hair. What is the woman's genotype? Can you tell now? Prove your answer with the cross and include the genotypes and phenotypes of your offspring. So the man has straight hair, so that's recessive. So he has to be homozygous recessive. So mom is either this or this. Dad is definitely this. So how many Punnett squares do we need to do? This combination is 1, and this combination 2. 6 of their children, however, are homozygous recessive. So we know one of those H's came from mom and one of those H's came from dad. So if one of those H's had to have come from mom, can she be homozygous dominant? No, she can't. So mom has to be heterozygous. Okay, so the woman must be heterozygous. Obviously, that's not good enough. I need you to prove it with a cross and include the F1 generation. So you just take mom's genotype and dad's genotype, and you create a box. So here's mom, here's dad. We fill in our boxes. Now, if you look here, here's mom's little h. So here are our offspring. Here are the chances that they're going to have straight hair. Why can't mom be homozygous dominant? Because if she was, and we changed this h, lowercase h to a capital H like you see in purple, and we brought that down into our boxes, you'll see that none of the offspring here have a chance of being homozygous recessive. They all would be heterozygous, where that capital H would mask or hide the lowercase h. So it wouldn't work for mom to be homozygous dominant. So she has to be heterozygous. So our genotypes and phenotypes of this cross, we have 2 het and 2 homozygous recessive. So 2 chances of being curly-haired kids and 2 chances of being straight-haired kids. So it's 50-50. And that is it. That is how you prove it. So that is number 3. You are on your own for the rest of this worksheet. Good luck, and see me if you have any questions.